Hey everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Revive and Thrive. This is episode 11. So I just want to welcome everybody back. I want to welcome the new subscribers this week. We appreciate the love and support. We're currently streaming live on Facebook, our personal pages, as well as our business page, Fly High NYC. We are also streaming live on IG. So we are streaming live on our personal pages. You can see the pages also in our subheadings, as well as our business page, Fly High underscore NYC on IG. Now, we say this every week. We love you, IG viewers, and I want you to keep coming back. But the platform we use will not allow us to see your messages. We do look at them after the broadcast, but if you want to participate live, head over to Facebook or to YouTube because we're also streaming live there. So we're streaming live on Fly High NYC on Facebook. So go ahead and find us there. We hear it's a wonderful experience and we can see your comments live. So thank you everyone for joining in. Let's go into the introductions. Hi, I am your co-host KG.
Hey everyone, I'm Tamika Elaine.
And we're back for another episode. Just a quick recap before we go into what we're going to discuss today. Last week, we broadcast or was able to go deep into our signature offer, Fly High signature offer, Glamascape. So it's everything Glamascape, including unveiling our brand new ad that is specific to Glamascape. And we got a whole bunch of great reviews, and we're getting a lot of great people coming towards us because of the ad and everything. So we just in love. So if you missed that episode, don't worry. You can actually, if you haven't already done so, you can opt in to review all our previous episodes. And if you're on Facebook as well as YouTube, that link is actually in the description above. Also, like I mentioned, Glam Escape. If you're interested to booking a call with us, a consult call, so you can get your own photo shoot where you can be the star of the show, that link is also in the description field. So, as far as what we're discussing this week, I think I'm excited about it a little bit because I think it's so important. And we're discussing building a personal brand, but in a digital world. So it's a little bit different when you're in person, but in a digital world standpoint, it's a whole nother territory. So we're going to dive deep into that. And so we're going to go right into it. And I think what we should do, Tamika and Lane, is just if you can you tell us exactly what is personal branding and why is it a game changer in the digital age?
Sure, KG. Like you, I agree that this is an important topic for both individuals as well as businesses. Personal branding, in short, is the process of creating a brand identity for you or your business, right? If you are a business, there really should be some alignment between your brand identity as well as that of your business. It's how you project your brand and your values to the world and ensure that your target audience knows who you are and what you stand for, as well as why it's worth choosing you over your competitors, right? So, I mean, it helps you to command respect and confidence from your peers and from customers. Now, as you mentioned, digital age, people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. There's so much content to consume. So, the need to make an impression is more important than ever now. And the best way to do so is to create a solid and a memorable brand identity. When I think about it, there's certain CEOs that come to mind when you think of a business. Like everyone, when you think of Apple, you think of the creator, Steve Jobs, right? For me, T-Mobile customers, for some reason, their marketing was really good. So John Legere, right, the former CEO,
Oh,
I always like resonate. It resonates like the culture or just the brand with him, and I didn't even realize. I'm like, yeah, he's no longer the CEO. I have no idea who the CEO is now because but I think those two individuals, at least for me personally, did a great job in kind of pushing forward their brand identities and their business identities. But there are some businesses that don't recognize or realize the importance of branding, because it is a lot of extra work, right?
Mm.
But we know this too, right? But I mean, it's like the reality is if you want to have a successful business, you have to create a successful brand. People who know you, your brand and your business will trust you, buy more products and services. And now that you have all these tools at your disposal, given that we are in a digital age, so it's about understanding different tactics and strategies to get you in front of the audience and to craft the story that you want to tell. So
Yes.
thinking about Fly High, right? We're here on this live right now, right? And we're using this platform to create a brand identity for our business, right? We strategically discuss topics that are relevant to our target audience of high performing women, topics that encourage wellness and self care, and providing strategies for them to navigate life both at home and in their careers, just like this topic, right? This also aligns with our Glam Escape Flying Dress photo shoot that we've crafted as it's geared to help these women feel rejuvenated and celebrated, bringing that self care theme back towards them. Additionally, people have the ability in this digital age to research us, right? So this also helps to, put our credibility out there. You want to make sure that anything that people can dig up with online about you
Mm.
is in alignment with your personal brand that you're presenting to the world. Just to ask you, are there particular brands that resonate with you, and why?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna go back to old school because I thought of my daddy when I'm growing up, and he was an old school Jamaican who really loved cards. I know people don't deal with birthday cards and stuff like that, but I remember growing up always going to get a Hallmark card for every occasion. So Hallmark. If you think about that, if you even remember, you think of its brand personality is aligned with being sincere, warm, genuine, competent, even imaginative, because you always try to look for the cards with the best illustrations. And so it really embodies that sincerity and warmth and things of that nature. So when I think of Hallmark, I think of all of those attributes, and those are its brand personality characteristics. Another one, Microsoft. When I think of Microsoft, I think of competent, business oriented, innovative, playful a little bit because of the gaming, but still yet serious. It's not like super exciting and explosive, but it does have a playful nature that is more, I think, aligned with the business. So, and that's their brand personality. And, when you think of those two particular like brands, those are the characteristics that you automatically put on those two. So those are the two that came to my mind to me
Yeah, I think
earlier.
those are two examples. And when you say Microsoft, for me, I'm like, oh, Bill Gates, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
like there's certain companies that you just automatically know who the founder is, and you kind of can, align this person's kind of public persona or brand identity, personal brand with that of the organization that they started. Just to ask our viewers, feel free to, drop in the chat if there are any, people that you identify with or personal brands that you identify with. I see a comment from Vonette Trotman. They are the worst, but why? You got to elaborate. Like, what is it with the particular brand that, resonates or that stands out to you? It's obviously something. But I'd like to also talk about brand identity in the workplace, right? Because we all have a
Yeah.
personal brand within our careers, the jobs that we hold. um it could be the difference between you receiving a promotion versus maybe one of your colleagues, right? Sometimes we focus on that we have a certain level of education or
Mm.
performance, but I mean, the market is very competitive. So it's like there's certain things that you have to do to make yourself really stand out more than just your reputation. It's about being visible, right? Being visible within the organization. Let's see. It has to be. It's intentional. It's how you want people to see you.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
let's see. So you have the power to define your brand, right, by aligning your intentions with actions, right? Um, on a personal note, for me in the workplace, I mean, there has been a time where, or had been a time where it stood out to me that I needed to increase my visibility because my position or the company is just very siloed as a whole. And my position, it's like I engage with teams across the business, but still I felt like the key stakeholders, the decision makers didn't necessarily know who I was, right? So that
Mm,
was like a conversation with me and my manager at the time to kind of figure out strategies to get me that visibility.
yeah.
Um, Also, let's see, many of us, when we're looking for jobs, there's sites like LinkedIn, right, that are very
Mhm.
important in portraying or projecting that personal brand that we want in potential employers to see. So it's very important to use these tools and to be able to like strategically put information on there that will help you stand out among other, other individuals who are vying for the same types of jobs. Let's see, asking the audience again, how would you describe your personal brand at work? It'll be interesting to hear what people think their personal brand is, and maybe any stories of how it has helped or maybe even hindered them in kind of the trajectory of their careers. So
And
just
as Oh,
go
sorry
ahead,
to
Casey. No,
jump
go
in.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, as those comments come in, I really want to harp on because I think it's so important. You bringing it up in the workplace. Your personal brand. It really showcases that really who we are at work is predominantly defined by what other people think of you. So, this is where you have to just like leave that mantra that everyone said, don't worry too much about what other people think of you. Well, if you care about advancing your career,
Yeah.
you better. And you have to really develop some other key characteristics about yourself, including empathy. And I'll tell you why. Because, especially when you're in a work field, you have to understand people gain impressions from like based on your physical presence, like including how firm you have a handshake, handshake someone, even women, your voice, and how well you can project, how your voice carries an acoustics of the room. That, I mean, these little details are so important. Even the way you smell, so important. And really, in a lot of times in these corporate settings, if you're lucky, you may get managers and other people to provide you with feedback. But a lot of times you may not get that feedback to let you know that you are on the right track or really projecting upward versus downward. So it's up to you. This is where the empathy comes in and really understanding how to see other people. You have to look at some other like hints if you're really hitting the mark with people, or signals. Like, are you seeing people smiling when you're talking, whether you're presenting or are you seeing people yawning, or are people not trying to have eye contact with you? These are different things you should, look at to see if you really hitting the mark. And that's where the empathy and really understanding how to read people come in. And because, a lot of times people won't give us that feedback that we so desperately need directly. So you have to be self-aware as well as aware of others. That's all I wanted to say on that.
No, those are really good points. And, I think it is just being observant, like you said, right? Just having that sense of understanding how things also work in the workplace, right? And
Mm.
as you get further in your career, you kind of understand those things a little bit more. I see uh, Vinette has a comment saying that she doesn't believe you can be your true self in the workplace.
Mm.
That it's more so I guess a fake persona that half of us are putting
Mm.
on.
Mm.
I mean, there's a little bit of that too. You got
Yeah.
to play the game a little
Mm.
bit.
Yeah. I mean, you have to play like you, Tamika Lane, perfect. You got to play the game, and it's
Yeah.
going to be different facets of you. And it's
Yeah.
so funny because I had this conversation with an ex, and it's oh, well, so you're saying you're fake because I present a certain way at work versus with friends, and but it's just a part of me. I have to, it is what it is. If you want to, I don't want to say if you want to make some money, which is true. If you want to do well, you have to be able to. I think they call it what switch, but it's not
Oh yeah.
fake
The code
though. But
switching or whatever. I don't
yeah,
know. It's so funny because you always say that. And I guess I still feel like maybe, you saying you're very introverted and these
I
things, but
am.
at work you have to put on, you're more like in commands of, you got that.
Yeah,
I don't I still see that as being you, and I know our audience who watches us every week. I think they would say that's you as well, even though you're looking at this like work. But I don't know. I
yeah,
still feel like that's still innate to you, and those things came from your upbringing. Like you said, you talked
yeah.
about your father and just kind of instilling like these good practices, wanting you to be your best. You always had to be like at the top. So I think that's just part of you. So I'm just gonna challenge you there. Even like with myself, like I would say my brand at work is someone who helps to solve problems, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know. That's just who I am also in my personal life. Like if I have a friend going through
Mm.
something or somebody who's in need of like they're looking for a certain like resource and if I know of some way to help them or I might look it up. Like I think that's just who I am just naturally. So I think it's still maybe it gets magnified on a certain degree at work because you got to put in a little extra, but I think part of it is just who we are. So I will say that. So just to summarize, in terms of the reasons for personal branding and why it's important, it helps one stand out from the crowd, right? It's a competitive market. You're competing for eyeballs online. So, your personal branding is going to be a strategy to help you to come in and get the audience that you're looking for, have people trust you. It leads to
Mhm.
greater opportunities. Um, what else? What else? Yeah, I just think, oh yeah, and people always screening you online, right? So you have to make sure that your personal brand is representative of that image that you want to portray.
Awesome.
Let's
Yeah.
see. So KG, like how do we talk about now like what it is, like what are the top strategies for actually defining and polishing this digital persona?
Yeah, so I try to put this into 5 steps. So try to make it, easily digestible. So like a person that's viewing may be able to implement it for themselves. So first things first, step one, you have to define your excuse me, your objectives. So before you start a digital persona, you need to be clear of what you want to achieve and what is your digital strategy. So with that, and it may be, like this may be seem boring to people, but you have to define this. You have to define what are your business goals, who's your target markets, what's your value proposition, and what are the key messaging that you want people to know. So to put it this way, I'll put it, I always provide examples that I'm doing. So professionally and personally, my digital strategy encompasses making women look and feel good. So I have 3 strategic foundation focuses, which are in photography, fashion, which is fly high, that business, fitness, which is aligned with my other business, Fine Curves Fitness, and just overall mental well being, just well being. And this is Revive and Thrive. I'll help pushes that agenda. Now, I also have some verticals that actually stem from some of the foundations. So, a vertical that I may make a part of my personal persona may be in the beauty and skincare because that's kind of aligned with the photography in fashion. And then what I like to do, because in the whole well-being, I also like talking about love and relationships, because I think that is a part of the whole well-being of oneself, because you got to love yourself as well as you will have certain relationships. So those are typically what you will see personally and professionally, what I will chat about. So I will try to keep it to that. Now, how do you met? And you also, once you build the strategy, and we're going to talk more about the target market and audience, but ways you have to set up some kind of parameters to measure success, that you're actually hitting your mark. So that's something else you want to build into. And just for instance, and just going very generally, some of the ways that we measure, Tamika and Lane and I, are like how many subscribers we get every week, and how many Glam Escape consult calls that are hitting our calendars every week. And it's getting up there. So it's like, so this is like, oh, it's working, So these are some of the things that we look at, and we, look at on a weekly basis to make sure we're hitting our mark. So, so having a clear vision and purpose will help you focus on the most relevant and realistic personas for your digital strategy. So that's step one. So step two, you have to start collecting data and insights. So you have to gather as much data as possible for your potential customers or clients or audience or whatever the case may be. So you can go through various resources or sources and methods such as web analytics, social media, surveys. Social media meaning just being active, looking out, going to groups, seeing what people are talking about, engaging. So those are just some simple ways. Surveys, interviews, looking at customer feedback, market research, and competitor analysis. Seeing what other people are doing or other entities are doing that are in your market space. What are they doing? Take note. So the more data you have, the more accurate and detailed your own personas will be. So I would suggest, not just collecting that quantitative, but also collecting the qualitative. And I would say heavy on the qualitative data, because a lot of times people make decisions based upon the emotions or how they feel in the moment. So, I mean, I know someone out there has made a purchase based on, oh, I'm sad. Let me go shopping. You
Yep. Retail therapy.
okay. So, so think about that. Yes, quantitative, important, but qualitative, very important as well. So that is two. So again, I know this may seem a little dry and boring, but it is very good in order to create a digital strategy that will work for you and whatever purpose that you're trying to serve. So step three is creating persona profiles. So for every persona group that you identify, you want to create a profile that summarizes like the key attributes and traits of your potential client. So it could be a description of like their needs, their goals, their preferences, their behaviors, something that reflects their attitude, their motivations. You can also add other details for your digital strategy, such as their pain points. What challenges are they going through? What kind of opportunities can we put in place to make those challenges go away? What are some of these people expectations? Try to make your personas as realistic and human as possible and avoid stereotypes or assumptions. So that is very important to do this. So, and even after doing this, you should start thinking about, how do you even want your customers, your audience, to ultimately feel after they are in your presence. So start thinking about that. What are you going to do to make them trust you? So start thinking about what things you're saying, what content you're putting out, so that you can build that trust and that engagement. And also, how are you going to build audience dependency? Like, are they going to keep coming back to you, your page, or your whatever, your whatever you're selling or whatever you're providing? So you have to think about all of those things once you figure out, okay, here are the target market, and here, what I want to go after, and how can I engage this market? So step four is when you validate and refine your personas. So once you created your personas, you need to validate and ensure that they're accurate and actually useful. Now you can do this by testing, and you test with real customers, stakeholders, or experts and asking for their feedback and suggestions. So one thing that we actually do from I guess this is from a Revive and Thrive standpoint. You may or may not know we do have ads. So these are ads that we put forward for our content. So what we did in the beginning for specifically Revive and Thrive, we tested our ads. So, we tested everything from the primary text that people see to the actual headlines, and then figuring out, like, are we going to highlight or touch upon people's pain points versus just giving them the features and benefits of this kind of live, or whatever you want to call it, a pocket. Some people call it pockets, call it a live. And even testing the creatives you use, like the pictures and videos, just get your messaging out there. Now, I must say that when we did this in the beginning, I just thought that certain things that we were going to put out there were going to be like a home run, like, yeah. But in actuality, once we got it in front of the people who were interested in the content, they didn't like some of the messaging at all. Like some of the more like ads that we did that was more, I would say, polished. They didn't really like, I thought some of these AI ads that I created would have been great. They hated it. The ad to this day, and this is something that, we're proud of, because Facebook even, said to us, this is a high performing ad. I mean, this ad is so simple, so simple. I'm like, it's me looking in the camera. I think my angle, I'm looking down. I don't even know if it's up my nose. I don't know that, but I don't know if it's that bad. But it's something so simple, but people just like relate to, I guess, what I was saying, how I was saying, and they felt like comfortable with me, like, oh, okay, I can relate to what you're saying and how you're saying it. And it works, and it gets people to sign up. Like, I mean, I'm not like tooting our horn, but I just wanted to provide an example that you may not, what you think may not work. So it is imperative that you test, or, in this example, we tested within the Facebook ad mechanism, or, asking people, asking loved ones and friends, like, give us feedback. And we also do that too. So you can, compare whatever with your existing data and insights and check if they match or contradict. And you can find any gaps or inconsistencies or errors. And then you can revise and update your personas accordingly. And this is what we've done. And step 5 is just, now you're using your personas for your digital strategy. So, you want to use these personas to help you design and just effectively put forward your digital strategy. So, how we do this, is kind of different for whether we're doing this for Revive and Thrive and Fly High. For instance, we have marketing campaigns. So, you want to have marketing campaigns that resonates most with the messaging, is make sure it's fine-tuned for those specific personas rather than generic content blasted to everyone. You want to craft the campaigns with the right tone, topics, and offers. So, the personas also guide the style and design of the campaign. So, for instance, Revive and Thrive ad, the campaigns are more cool, relatable, playful, but speak directly to the target market's priorities and needs. Whereas you saw the Fly High NYC ad, it's more elegant, it's more polished. Even our website is more elegant and polished, and it appeals to a more sophisticated persona because of the price point of the signature offer, just to be quite, frank. So we knew that we had to switch it up in order to get to the right audience. So it's just knowing that. So just be aware of your content, your messages, your offers, your experiences that you choose to, share that resonate with your ideal customers. And, personalize as much as possible, it actually generate higher engagement in conversion rates, your audience feel understood, and things of that nature. So you can also use this, and this is still in step 5, to monitor and evaluate your digital performance over time, revisit them regularly, and also just reflect any changes or trends in your customers' needs and goals and preferences and behaviors. Two things that I say that can happen if you choose not to revisit often are oversimplification. You condense customers into like a few personas. You can miss nuances. You should maintain quantitative data on actual users to balance the qualitative personas. And then another thing that may happen if you choose not to continuously revisit is misalignment. Personas not updated routinely may become dated and fail to match evolving audiences. So continuously refine through research. And just to wrap up this segment, I just have a couple of final thoughts. Again, persona, humanized data enables organizations or companies to like empathize with the customer motivations and frustrations. So this drives more thoughtful engagement. You want to tailor your marketing so it can resonate better with the different audience segments that's tailored to the specific needs of each persona. And then just strategic planning grounded in personas reveals new market opportunities and partnerships. So that's something that Tamika and Elaine and I are thinking about how we're going to branch off ultimately and think of new endeavors. But it still be aligned with audience goals. So these are the things that I know this may be boring to some people, but I like, ooh, I love the strategy. So this is my kind of thing. So I don't know, that's the nerd in me. But Tamika, Elaine,
I mean, that's a lot of great information, KG. I know one of the things in addition to that with these personas is just making sure that those personas are authentic, right? Because some
yes.
people will just craft the persona because they think it's going to get them the audience that they want. But
Yeah.
it's easy for people to spot like something that's fake, and it's only going to hurt the credibility and the trust. So it's instead important to be like, be yourself, let your personality shine through. We know in this digital age it takes like one like wrong comment, a remark in an interview, a offensive post, anything to like just destroy your personal brand. And then you have to work on that like recovery strategy. I wanted to share an example of I guess a personal brand challenge that happened with there was a baby clothing company earlier this year that was criticized over handling an employee's maternity leave request. It says like basically the woman, she had adopted a baby, a newborn, and the baby was hospitalized for weeks. And, she requested for her employer to work remotely, right, while her newborn was being treated. And this is it's important to say that it's a children's clothing brand, right? So some people might think that their brand persona would be that they would be more like understanding and accommodating to women, new mothers, and things like that. But the CEO basically kind of struck down the request. Yeah. And then there was like public outrage because, again, it takes a second for these things to go viral and to have like the outrage. And then the CEO, she issued an apology to the employee. But then people criticized her apologies for saying it wasn't genuine, right? And then she did issue another apology saying, yes, it wasn't genuine, it was scripted. I mean, it was just a disaster.
What?
Yeah, so again, it's very important to align to be authentic in your brand, your personal brand strategy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yes, Barnett, you saw
She
it.
got a job. She's still working.
Well, she
Wait a
doesn't. She
minute.
decided not to go back to the company.
Either.
Yeah, she decided not to go back. Yes, 2 apologies. Yep, it was crazy. And you saying they fired that CEO? Yep. Yeah, it was the worst. Like,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to have my mouth. I mean, please. These. These companies are a trip. I'll just leave it at that.
Exactly, exactly. So it's
Oh,
very important.
well, girl. So Tamika Lane, I know we talk about visibility because what's the name of that company? Might as well throw them into the fire.
Um, kites, baby, KYTE, baby.
Oh, I never. Well, we'll continue to not support. But since this talking about, this, I'm sure that definitely got a lot of visibility. So, Tamika Lane, what are your favorite techniques for increasing online visibility and engagement in a positive way?
I know, right? Well, I mean, creating different types of content and understanding which content works best for each social media platform is definitely key. And this would be determined based on the user engagement and the platform specific algorithms, because
Mhm,
this is going to serve to be lead generators, making you more discoverable by your potential customers, spreading awareness about what you do, who you are, and developing your brand loyalty and showcasing your personality. But all of this, your content won't go anywhere if you don't, use these strategies to help people actually find it.
mhm,
So the first tip is to focus on quality over quantity in your followers, right? We
mhm,
see, people wanting to the big numbers, but it's really like if you're having your followers are the people who are actually part of your marketing, care about what you're posting. And this is an
mhm.
exercise that I went through, or we went through when we were actually starting Fly
Yeah,
High and just trying to build our customer base. Like, I scrubbed some of my social media lists and kind of removed
yeah,
people that really just didn't fit with the messaging that we were about to start sharing. All right, so it's important to know your target audience and try to align your followers with having like the most quality type of followers who actually want to consume your content, and they would organically want to view it.
mhm,
You could also follow people joining in conversations relevant to your brand to help get some of
mhm,
these quality type of followers. Engagement is also another tip, right? We need to go and make sure that we are, commenting on our posts, putting
mhm.
polling questions, using video, posting edgy content that sparks conversation, or
Yeah,
even using lighthearted strategies like memes and gifs. Like, all of these things help to make your content more visible. So,
yeah.
those are other tips. Posting at the right time. Um,
Yes.
Using certain tools like Google Analytics can help to show you where there are spikes in the traffics for your page, right?
Mhm,
So, that's something again that you're going to have to research and figure out what's the right time for you. Um, Also, optimizing your content for search engine optimization. You want to make sure that it's showing up in search results, right? There
yeah,
are certain metrics that you want to optimize for, like high time on the page and the time on the site. Low bounce rates. You want to make sure that your content is not being flagged as like clickbait. um
mhm,
Goal completions, like if you have a form, like how many people are actually going and completing that form. The rating of your domain, and then making sure your content is unique, and your meta descriptions and your titles, like what people actually see when they search, making sure that they're descriptive, but again, not clickbait, because you don't want to be penalized, because you certain things will end up actually negatively impacting you in SEO.
mhm.
You can also optimize YouTube videos for SEO. So all of these things you can research and find out how to really make sure that your content gets in front of the eyes that you want. Visuals, including visuals and in the content that you're posting is also helpful. One of the best ways to boost engagements. Visuals tend to get more shares, likes, and comments, and people tend to retain the information better. Hashtags, right? Tagging your posts with these. You can also check to see what tags are trending and use them to boost your post visibility further. You just want to make sure you're staying on brand whenever you post. Avoid that you're just not putting overloading posts with hashtags. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
or tend to do that.
Mhm.
You don't want to do that. Um, Some of these social media platforms advise no more than 3 per tweet, or like 10 to 15 is common practice, they say on Instagram. But you just have to know the culture, whatever platform that you're using, to make sure that you're going to maximize the impact. Pinning your posts, right? That's something we do also, just to make sure that it stays, the most important posts are highly visible. These you might want to choose like an important announcement or a post that really captures the essence of your brand, that will drive a lot of website traffic, something that you're proud of, or something that's already received a lot of engagement. You might want to pin.
Mm.
Sharing other people's content. That's also a strategy, because when you share other people's content, you'll get your name in front of the person who created it. So it's also a great tactic for building relationships online with maybe influencers, expanding your follower base. Uh, Leveraging these connections with influential third parties is also helpful.
Yeah.
Strengthening your brand voice, just letting your personality shine through, because again, in personal branding, being more authentic, that's also going to make you more visible. Being conversational on social is a great way to increase traffic and visibility. Just having that distinct voice, so you just don't sound like every other company within your space. And then lastly, creating new content on a regular basis. I think this is very challenging, but it's important, because it also gives you more things to share, to link to, provide search engines with stronger signals through the keywords you use. But you can also repurpose content. Go through the content you've already purposed, maybe make updates to it and repurpose it. Um, Now, going back to, each platform has a different kind of strategy, or their best practices for each platform that you use. This is all based on the different algorithms that they're going to play a key role in how visible your content is. They use these algorithms to, match your content to the audience that has similar preferences. I remember when Instagram changed their algorithm, it drove me nuts, because I was like, why am I not seeing the stuff I want to see? But then you kind of realize, oh, the more that you like content, the more that you're going to see it. Now you're going to see things that people who or you follow, they like. So it's very important to understand how these work, to understand
Yeah.
how the strategies for the content that you post. So just a few tips for optimizing and staying ahead of like the algorithms. You want to ask questions and encourage comments from your audience when you're posting, because these social media algorithms, they favor highly engaging content with a ton of content comments. So you want to make sure to do this. You can have call to actions, which is great to encourage conversations. You want to maybe avoid controversial or offensive questions, right? Because you want to try to keep that positivity. And then also tagging others in your tagging other accounts in your posts. And I thought about you, KG, because you made a comment about that. It's great strategy, but
Mm.
there is a way you can try to, maybe reach out to the person that you want to tag, just so that you're just not tagging folks, just to boost your content, right? But
Yeah.
it is a good strategy to be able to increase, or to for social, to be able to increase the visibility of your content, right? So it boosts your collaboration, your brand exposure, and visibility. The hashtags, we talked about that, making sure you have the right keywords, using
Mhm.
them strategically. That is, I think that's the takeaway there. And there are tools that you can use, social media management tools, that'll help you to refine or identify the hashtags that would be important to include in your posts. Again, each one of these platforms, optimizing the post timing based upon when the highest traffic is for your audience. That's another way to increase the visibility. And then determining what's the frequency that you're going to publish. And as you mentioned earlier, a lot of this is testing, right? So you have to figure out what's the philosophy that's going to work best for your business. And publishing more video across all of them. I mean, all of the social media platforms, video is going to outperform more than text content.
Mm,
So, just being creative with that, scheduling it at the right time, promoting it using social media management tools is going to help too. And you touched on this too, KG, crafting relevant and engaging captions. So
mm,
these captions, are going to help to increase the visibility of the content that you're posting. Starting with a strong hook,
yeah.
including call to actions, being concise, and again, you got to test the captions on various content types, whether it's video, text, images, to determine what's going to resonate and what is going to track the social media metrics that you're looking for based on that particular site.
Mm.
Let's see, and measure performance. He talks about that, KG. You need to know, like, is this working, right? And adjust accordingly. And just embrace the new features. You got to be adaptable, and you got to stay in tune with what's changing, right? If you're going to
Mhm.
be a business, and you need to know when these algorithms change, and you need to adapt your strategies accordingly. So,
Awesome.
yes, that was a lot of information. Hopefully,
Yeah, this is good. I mean, I think it's good. I don't know. Hopefully, people out there are finding it or maybe taking notes or just listening,
I
like,
know, and they
oh,
can always go into the portal and watch the replay. So
okay.
I know it's a lot to consume. But I think lastly, what are some of the common hurdles, KG, in personal brandings, and what are the tips of how we are able to jump over them?
Yeah, so to begin with, I just have I'll be brief. I have three things that can help someone, tackle your fear of judgment. Now, it's just important for you just to get out there, and even if you're not used to being in the public eye, or if you're introvert, I am an introvert, you know.
You want to claim that.
Yeah, or even if you hear feedback like, that what y'all doing ain't all that. I don't know why you doing that. Like try to get all that noise out your head and just focus on some of the things that we talked about. Do your own research and at least try to put things in play because eventually you will hit the market that you are targeting if you doing the research and you really building a strategy for your product or service. So just don't think about the judgment. Just go out there. A closed mouth never gets fed. So you have to do something. So another piece of advice is just truly finding your niche, being focused and controlled on what post or whatever content you put out there. And I talked earlier about having a foundation and then maybe having a few verticals. Try to stick to that. I mean, like personally, and I try to stick to that at least 80% of the time. Personally, I would love to post all the time about dogs. I would
You
love to
sure would.
I am a dog lover. I love animals. Like you should most of the stuff I consume on Facebook, people may call me corny. I'm looking at dog videos like, oh, I want to just repost this, but it's not really aligned to anything I'm trying to do. So I keep it to myself or another thing, sports. I admit I do post about sports here and there. I'm like maybe that could be a vertical from the fitness, I don't know, but I'm like, oh, I have to post here and there about sports, but I don't do it as often as everything else that I post about. So try to not only find your niche but try to keep to it, try to sustain focus and control so that you're not confusing your audience, and so you can continue to gauge them for why they even want to look at you. So that's one of the things. And the last thing I will say is just be patient regarding building your brand. It may not be an overnight success, especially with every post. You may get a post where there's like 0 likes or no engagement. It just takes consistency. So that's something that I need to work on as well. Consistency. Tamika Lane talked about having some kind of rhythm of when you post, I'm going to work to post more according to that rhythm that I believe will work. So it's just having that consistency, not giving up, continue to fight. And if you again do the work in terms of building your strategy, you will push along, and eventually success should follow, or we hope it will follow. So those are just three little
100%.
tips.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I'm like, at least you have already identified kind of, the buckets in which you tend to share your personal brand. I'm still trying to figure that out. So, yeah, I mean, guys, in the coming weeks, you may see Tamika Lane start
Oh,
posting more.
okay.
trying to get her personal brand out there so you know a little bit more of who I am and why I'm here.
Yeah,
But
girl.
yeah, it is challenging to find the time, and I guess that's why these social media management tools help. So
Yeah.
we probably need to figure out one that works for our business so we could just schedule these posts and
Oh
take some of
yeah.
the legwork
I mean, you got
off of
the
our plate.
email communications on point, but yeah, the post, yeah, that's the next business meeting. Okay, but this is great. I can't believe we talked 50 minutes about. We thought this ain't gonna go past 30, but look at us at 50-minute mark. Any last thoughts, Tamika Lane?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining in. Before going, we talked a lot about digital strategy and for our businesses. So I do want to highlight the key business, one of the key businesses, Fly High NYC. So again, we did go into a lot of detail last week, and we got a lot of great support and feedback about the service, and they feel that it's amazing. So if you want to embark on your own customized, personalized photo shoot, which will leave you rejuvenated and feeling like a star, the show that you are, then come aboard and talk to Tamika, Elaine, and I with a consult call, so we can talk a lot about what Glamorscape entails and also what we can do for you on a personal level. Again, the link, if you are on Facebook as well as YouTube, should be in the description above or below. And you can go ahead and click that link and get in touch with us. And we will be happy to work with you. And especially now that the weather is great, having your own
Yes.
personalized photo shoot in New York City in spring and summer will be
I
magical. So,
know. And all the moms, you may want to do a little something to celebrate yourself. Mother's Day is coming up. So that's another
yes,
perfect time. So, yes,
yes.
definitely reach out.
Yeah, celebrate yourself. That definitely. So, and again, we can customize it. So if you want other people involved in the shoot, we can talk about that as well, whether it's your boo or other girlfriends or your daughter. So, so anyway, go ahead and reach out to us, and we thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget to leave us comments or feedback about this episode and other things. We love to hear and see it. And thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Vanette, with the glowy skin.
Yes. Did you buy it, Vonette? Did you gotta let us know when you receive yours?
Okay, everyone. Thank you. Bye.